Greetings, Dr. Susan Spillman here. What an intense time we're living in. I think all of us are feeling that. The intensity, sometimes overwhelmed, sad, sometimes excited about what's happening. And so today I want to do number 3 of the series in connecting to ourselves. So this is about, what I want to talk about today is how can we basically stay centered? How can we get centered and then stay centered no matter what is happening? So even though we have many outside events now kind of impacting us, in the US, the election, the virus, in the rest of the world, the virus, the lack of work, the lack of money for many people, we have many, many events impacting us. And how can we stay connected to ourselves and not just reactive about what's happening in the world? Angry, pissed off, all of that kind of stuff. How can we stay within ourselves centered for ourselves? So this is not anything about blaming anybody, blaming ourselves for not doing that or blaming other people for doing what they're doing. It's really a way to start practicing being centered and then staying centered. And for me, basically this has to do with our own vibration. So we can be in touch with our own vibration, like where is it? Not in terms of a number, but are we always miserable? Are we back and forth between happy and miserable, or excited and despairing? Kind of where are we with our vibration, with our energy is another way to say it. And what will it take for us to be in charge of that vibration, okay? So often we're looking to other people or the world or outside events to provide a good vibration for us so that we can then respond to that good vibration, okay? And we see this all the time. I mean, all of us do it in different ways. With addictions, that's constantly what people are doing, is looking for something outside themselves, whether it's food, alcohol, drugs, relationships, that kind of thing. But in general, many of us do this. So we're looking for something else, a relationship, someone who's going to help us, cure us, be our guru, that kind of thing. And so what I'm saying is, what if we were radically responsible for our own vibration, for our own energy, okay? So just, if you can just breathe and take a moment to see, how does this sit for you? It may be something that is totally offensive, or, I don't like this, I don't want to do this, that kind of thing. Or it may be, oh, of course, this makes sense. So, people are very different with this. So then you ask maybe, well, how do I do this? How do I pay attention to my own vibration? How do I even know where I am with my vibration? And of course, how do I shift it? So the first step is that very one, is how do I pay attention to where my vibration is? And this, you can ask yourself questions in terms of becoming more and more aware of how often do I get triggered? And so triggered is a way I think of it, but you might think of it more in terms of how often do I get mad at somebody else about something else, or how do I get very upset about the political situation in whatever country you're in, and focus on that, and then get upset about it, and then I'm upset, okay? So that is an example of a trigger. There's something that's triggering you to get off center, to go outside yourself, to look outside yourself rather than look inside yourself. So the first step is really to identify how often do you get triggered. And some people are triggered all the time, others, so-so, and some people can really maintain their sense of connectedness to themselves quite well without getting triggered very much. But those people are probably fairly rare, but it's where we want to go, right? It's where we want to aspire to, is to be able to stay centered no matter what is happening outside of ourselves. So it's not that we're not feeling something, it's just that we don't react to it. We're not like, in a big drama about something. Upset. It's kind of like, oh, okay, that happened, and now, how can I respond to it? What can I do about it? And if it's upsetting, how can I release those feelings that are upsetting to me? So that's the first step, okay, is knowing how often you get triggered, because very often people don't know how they get triggered. And then there are other people who are in some ways the opposite, the other extreme, and that is they don't let any feelings in. So they're kind of like frozen. Nothing bothers them. Nothing bothers them. They kind of are not very emotionally responsive to what's going on. And that's just another way that people deal with triggers, basically. It's like the frozen variety as opposed to the fight or flight variety. So then, once you've identified, what you get triggered on, how often you get triggered, that kind of thing, then you start looking at what's going to help me when I get triggered. What's going to help me? And as many of you know, one of my favorite things is, what can I do right now to feel better right now? Okay, what can I do right now to feel better right now? So it brings us right back to the immediate situation, not the past, what just happened, or not the future, what I want to have happen, but right now, what can I do right now to feel better right now? So this is something each person has to decide for themselves and determine for themselves. So what I suggest, and I have done in the past for myself, is make a list. So if I don't come up with anything, if nothing immediately comes to mind, it's like, well, I don't know what I can do right now. If I'm in that state, or if someone else is in that state, it's like, okay, why don't you make a list when you're a little bit calmer? Make a list of all the things that might help you. They may or may not. You have to try them and find out. So for example, take a walk, talk to a friend, read a book, sometimes look at something on YouTube, that kind of thing. So that you have a list, and so if you're a little bit muddled or just in a frenzy about something, you can look at your list, okay, and see, okay, let me try this. And then you pay very close attention to how you felt before you tried it, and then how you felt afterwards. Almost always you'll feel better afterwards. Maybe not 100% better, but there'll be a shift in your energy. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for, how can we shift our energy so that we can come back to ourselves? Come back to ourselves, be in charge of our own energy, that kind of thing. That's what we're looking for, okay? So that's what's super important. And this takes practice, I mean, part of this whole thing about coming back to ourselves is it takes practice to do it. There's no magic answer. There's no magic way it's going to happen and then stay that way forever. You have to just practice these steps, and then when something comes up, okay, well, this is what I do, and then I'll feel better. And eventually it becomes more automatic, so that you don't get as triggered. Things are not so upsetting to you. You know what to do about them. You know how to shift your own energy, and you feel much, much, much better. Okay? So those are the ways that are really very concrete ways that you can help yourself and help yourself come back to yourself. So, as some of you know, one of the favorite ways I also do, besides that, all of what I just described, is this game called Magical You, which I totally, totally love and do for myself as well as for other people. So I'm going to just do a very brief Magical You for you so that you can see what it's like and see if this might be something that would be useful for you. Okay? So the first thing is to pick how you're feeling and feelings that are a little bit distressing to you. So I'm going to use myself as an example. And right now, today, this morning here in Bali, I have this feeling that I'm like absorbing feelings from other people in the world. You know, all the drama that's going on in the world, all the conflict, all the chaos that's going on. Not so much here in Bali, but certainly in the US. And since I am an American and I'm kind of sensitive to that, so I feel like recently I have a tendency to kind of absorb some of that energy, and I don't like it. There's nothing I can do about it, and literally, all I can do about it is I can shift my energy, which will help other people shift their energy. But sometimes I get a little stuck on just feeling kind of overwhelmed. Oh my goodness, it's so chaotic, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to do a little bit of Magical You for you today. So I picked a couple of cards. I picked some cards to help with this. So I picked Lonely, which is not really having many people to talk to about this. Different, that really in many ways I am quite different than many people, and I'm not really so interested in all the drama, even though I get caught up in it at times. And in many ways I see this whole issue quite differently from most people. And of course I'm sad. I'm sad that it's happening, even though I can see it's for the greater good in the long run, but at the moment, you know, I'm sad about it. And then we have the Magic card, which we can use for anything, okay? So I'm gonna do a release and add the Magic card to this and do a release, okay, of these feelings. So they're in my body. I'd say they're quite intense right this morning. I'd say about a 7, which is, you know, a little surprising, but anyway, a 7. And they're in my head and my chest. Okay? So I'm going to do a release, okay? I release all sad, all different, and all lonely that I'm holding in my body around this issue of absorbing feelings from the collective and other people. I allow Magic to help me to release these feelings. And also, I allow myself to have a friend to talk to, and at times to get away from it all into a more peaceful environment. I send these feelings to the ocean, to the outgoing tide, to send them to the ocean, to never come back. Now. Okay. So now I'm going to just check in with my body and see what number those are at. So I'd say I'm down to a 3 on my head. I don't have much in my head. About a 3, I guess a 3 combination of the two, a 3. So what I could do is try and release these more. And this is what I'm going to do today, just as a demo. I'm just going to call on the Magic card, okay? And allow Magic to come help me release this. So release this so that I can be at a higher vibration, not feeling so, you know, dragged down by other energy, outside energy, that I can come back to myself and have energy to move forward with my own projects, my own life, all of that kind of thing. So I'm calling on Magic to do that, and I'm just going to do a little help with that. So I call on Magic to come into my life and into my body. Allow me to leave all the things that no longer fit for me, and to allow myself to move forward, to have fun, to enjoy what is right before me. Now. Okay. Okay. That was great. That was great. That was like super helpful to me. So I'd say I'm down to probably a 0. Basically, that's what it feels like right now. And then the last part of this game is, how do we want to feel? Okay? And so the cards I picked are strong, special, and brave. And these are, in fact, are true, how I want to feel. But right now, doing this right this minute, the main one I want to feel is magic. I want to feel that magic and allow that magic to come in. So I'm going to hold these cards up for myself. Magic, brave, special, and strong. And then when when I can allow them to come into my body, I'm going to allow them to come in. But magic is the main one today, okay? It's different each time, okay? But today it's magic. So I'm going to really put magic right up there first, okay? And just let myself enjoy those feelings right now in the present, and then allow them to come into my body. Okay, so that was fun, and I feel much better. I feel much lighter, as you may be able to tell. And it's just it's a fun game to play, and it's a quick way to release the energy that's kind of bogging us down. We, of course, still have to be responsible for our own energy. This is just one tool of how to do it in a kind of fun, quick way. So anyway, that's for today, and I'd be happy to talk with you more about the game Magical You, about my approach, about what would be helpful to you, all of those kinds of things. And I'll put this on YouTube as well as on Facebook, and I love to hear comments and see comments from you, so would love that. If you're at all inclined to write a comment, that would be great. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.